Hey there, Green Thumbs, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Rad's Guide to Project Zomboid. Episode 24, Farming. Zombies can see the player through the windows at distance. It's not the light sources. Zombies don't really care about light at all. They're not affected by light levels, even. But yeah, if there was any zombies in the street looking my direction, and I was standing here, they would spot me and shamble over to the walls and windows and doors and start breaking them down. I probably actually don't need to go very far to get some firewood, because this food mart is next to some trees, as you can see. Cutting down trees is very exhausting, so you got to be careful doing it when there's zombies around. But in order to cut down trees, just right-click on the tree, and you'll get a cut tree down, and you just chop it down. In this case, I like to fast-forward time, because otherwise it takes a while. So I'm just making sure that there's no zombies on the other side of this cluster of trees. And then the other benefit of cutting down trees that are like right next to your base is you will be able to see out further, right? Because you're physically removing sight blockers. There we go. And then I can grab 4 logs and say, make a 4-log stack. So then I have these 2 4-log stacks, which is a bunch of logs tethered together with rope, which makes it easier to move more logs on foot. And in fact, it lowers its encumbrance, so you can fit more wood by stacking it like this in your like trunk or whatever, in your car, than not stacking it. And you can stack with rope, and you can stack also with sheet ropes, but sheet ropes weigh more. So rope is a little bit better of a tool to use than sheet ropes. Then I can unstack the logs. I only used, 4 of the 6 rope I had? I can unstack the logs, and then right-click and saw them. And now I have 24 planks, which is plenty. So that's a very easy way to get a whole bunch of wood for big projects, is to cut trees down from the forest. In fact, it might even be easier for me to barricade up the windows with wood than to cover them with fabric, because the sheets I would need to go to like houses to steal their curtains, whereas like wood I can just cut things from the backyard. And then the added benefit of that is it's a woodworking task, so I'm leveling out my carpentry while I do it. But it does take 3 planks per window to block sight. So it would be expensive. What is it? 5, 3, 5. So it's 13. Yeah. It'd be a lot of wood. But I actually think it would be easier than trying to get all the curtains. And if we really wanted to get crazy, we could even have a catwalk go all the way back to my loft, so I could walk all the way around, but that's unnecessary. This does use a fair bit of nails, so you're going to want a pretty decent supply of nails, because I'm down to 6 now, right? I've used the 50-something that I had in my inventory. And at a later date, I could always add curtains if I wanted to make it pretty. In terms of the amount of carpentry skill that I've actually obtained from this, though, it's very small. Breaking down complex furniture is way better of a grinder than than building some floor paneling. Now I have 106 nails, so that should be better. And to quickly recover stamina, I can sit on the ground, read a mechanics book, put it away, fast forward time, you know. Done. Now I'm fresh and ready for another load. There is, I'll show you axes in combat, because there's some zombies coming at me now. I am Axeman, because I'm a lumberjack, so I have a special trait that allows me to be more efficient with axes as a weapon. So as you can see, their swing speed makes it a little bit more tactical of a weapon to use, because you can't... You have a kind of a long downtime between swings. The fire axes swing a little bit faster than the wood axes. And then also I'm like completely ruining the clothing of the people that I'm, like, this leather jacket barely has leather left on it because the axe shreds it. The one advantage of the wood axe over the crowbar, however, is it can be repaired. So with wood glue, I can fix it up. There's diminishing returns every time you fix up something. So if you fix... There's only so many times that you can fix a wood axe before it's like kind of just more glue than axe. So that's worth mentioning. Also, the original spot that was cutting down trees still had wood left there, I think. So I can stack over there as well. Hey, Raw, how goes the zombie apocalypse today? Pretty good, man. I just lost power, and it's like day 28, so that's pretty ridiculous. I kept it for so long. And I found a sledgehammer at a roadside site. And now I'm fighting the zombie while absolutely exhausted and encumbered. So the worst way to fight a zombie. What you can manage. You almost never get the max out of it? I know. I was like all ready for it too, right? I have 2 generators on my roof. I have a generator at the closest gas station. I had destroyed or removed all of the things that draw power that I didn't want to power on. And I was just like sitting on my hands of like, when is it going to be cut? And it got cut on max day. Which is unusual. If you click the planks to be sawn in your own inventory, you will saw them and hold on to them, which makes it a little bit easier to saw and not have to move them into your inventory after the fact. A tiny time saver, not all that important. Your last few had bad luck. You had a day 1 water drop. I had like a day 3 maybe water cut, or day 4. It was pretty early on. It was definitely earlier than I expected. I didn't even notice for like half a day because there was still obviously a little bit of water left in the sinks, and I totally did not check that it was finite because I wasn't expecting it. You know, you don't expect to lose your power, your water in the first few days. Like maybe by day 7, maybe, but not usually by like day 1 to 3. That's pretty unusual. Caught me by surprise for sure. So I only need 3, 4, 5 more planks, and we have cut vision from the ground floor. You legit thought you had your settings on hard setup? I would too. Right? It's very unusual to lose it that early. You're just like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel normal. Especially, like, for someone as experienced like you, where you have bajillions of, not bajillions, but you have tons of hours in the game, you come to sort of expect certain things. Right? Like, for a brand new player, they might not know that that's unusual. But when you have played, like, 100 rounds or 500 rounds of Zomboid, you have a mental picture of, like, what the average run looks like. Like, oh, you know, I'll find a car by day 2. I'll set up an outpost by day 5. I'll, you know, things like that. So when you lose water or power very, very early on, unexpectedly, it really changes your, like, standard plan. Or it certainly does for me. Yeah, you walked up to a sink and it was like 20 remaining. You're like, wow, the water's already off? Yeah, it's always surprising. Cries in 16 pop car by day 2. Yes. Yeah, if you do high pop, especially if you do high pop with the max pop being early on, everything's slower. I might not fast forward time here. I'm at the edge of a forest with potentially zombies, like, close. Having done some max or close to max pop runs, they're obviously terrible for new players to learn, which is the whole point of this series, because you do almost nothing but kill zombies, because there's just so many zombies. And if you're not efficient and skilled at killing them, the runs are very short. They're fun. Same with if you ramp the zombies up for movement speed. I've done a few of those, not streamed them really, but like done them myself. And they feel a bit more like Dying Light. I've done like some Dying Light for my own personal runs. Some Dying Light themed ones where like at night, the zombies are like sprinters, and which are so fast, insanely fast. You can barely outrun them. You functionally can't really outrun them because they have infinite endurance, and you don't. So eventually they catch up. But yeah, those runs are a lot of fun. They're just much more challenging. Okay, nothing can see in. Works both ways, right? I have no vision of the street outside, so there could be a massive whore out there, I wouldn't know it, but at least they can't see me. And as long as I'm quiet in here and, you know, not shooting off guns or whatever, there's a relative decent amount of protection as a result. Silence is golden. For the extra planks, because I do intend to make water barrels, I will saw them here and leave them here for when my carpentry is a higher level. But yep, that's the advantage of a wood axe, or really any axe. Wood axes are really good at cutting down trees, but even like a hand hatchet will do it. Just, it will be a lot less efficient, take a lot more time, damage the tool a lot more, but it will still get done in a pinch. And collecting rope. You can use rope as like sheet ropes to go up and down, but ropes are much better used for bundling, because they weigh like half as much as a sheet rope, or even less. Sheet ropes are like surprisingly really heavy. It's quite funny to me, because you can take a pair of socks and turn them into a sheet rope, which they like become heavier by a factor of 10. It's just one of those funny things that happens in game. So for the remainder of today, I think I really want to get the tape that I already have in there, which is a mechanics tape, read or watched fully. So I'm going to quickly blow through the volume 2 of mechanics, and then go through the woodworking tapes that I have, trying to get the coveted level 7 carpentry so that I can build the really nice rain barrels. So I'm looking to build the rain collector barrels that are cylindrical rather than cube, as they hold a lot more water. Okay. Sprinting leveled up. I like stutter stepped for a quarter of a second. Almost took me by surprise. How's my weight? 77 and dropping? I think it's another ice cream night. I'm slightly tempted to eat 2 of them. That's right. I just had like 2 gallons of ice cream. Now that I can't see in or out, there is no real point to having curtains here. I mean, functionally speaking, if there's zombies already downstairs, I have problems. So the benefit of sheets on these windows are... And same is true of the door here. And the kitchen curtains as well. There's just not a benefit anymore. Which actually makes this room look a bit nicer. I like the view. You know, I like being in the kitchen and being able to see outside rather than the claustrophobia of covered vision. And realistically, I could probably use these curtains to cover most of the windows. How many do I have here? Don't tell me I have 13. That would be ridiculous. I have 13. I could have just done that ahead of time rather than boarded them up. Because there's 13 windows over here. Well, I'm going to add sheets anyway. We'll add sheets just for the extra. I like how it was like, don't be 13, don't be 13. It was exactly 13 because that's how many windows are out here in the first place. I don't know why I didn't think of that. You know, I could have saved myself a lot of time and effort and energy just like moving the 13 sheets from inside to on the perimeter. But now they're like double barricaded. The completionist in me, if I wasn't streaming, I might even just take a sledgehammer and knock these windows out myself and replace them with walls, which would be much higher HP. Well, actually, that's not true. Depends on my carpentry skill and trait points. Because if your carpentry sucks, walls that you build yourself are pretty shabby. Alright, there we go. There are actually already lights inside on downstairs. It's just Zomboid is a little weird about the areas that are illuminated. So if you physically build a new floor to a building, it's not going to look right. So if you see here, when I'm on the bottom floor, it's like the lights are on. The reason it doesn't look bright right now is because I'm ridiculously tired. So it's that my guy is like falling asleep on his feet. But the lights for the main building are already on. Alright, current priority now is level up carpentry and mechanics. Wow, 2 gallons of ice cream. I'm not gaining weight yet. Challenge accepted. So with the Volume 2 red, I can watch maybe the rest of the car zones and get my mechanics up to 4 to 5 range, which is pretty good. That allows you to do most car maintenance. I think level 5 gives you the opportunity to repair engines, which is a big one if you damage your engine with front-end collisions. Oh, you know what? I don't have reading material. So this is the car zone tape that I already started. I'm not going to bother with the other car zone tapes, but what I do want to do is to try to get to level 7 carpentry in my time remaining so that I can maybe make those rain barrels. Which means figuring out what woodworking shows. So I've watched 2, 3, and 6. So 7, 5, 4, I have not. So I put them in my backpack. And then I need a book. I think I read the metalworking, read the electrical. So at this point, cooking or tailoring. And if I had it between the two, I would pick maybe tailoring. Or farming. I could have done farming. But because I'm in a food mart, my need for cooking and farming is really low. But depending on where you live, that might not be true. I just have like a 6-month supply of dried goods in this building already. So. Oh, there was no more edumacation left on that tape. I paused it for no reason. I probably could have like calculated the XP that I got from it, but that's fine. So now for the carpentry tapes. Because I'm already level carpentry level 6, the amount of experience I need for the next level is 4,500. So it's not likely that I'm going to need to pause these tapes mid-watch because of how much carpentry I have left to learn. But it certainly cuts down on the grind. All right, that's all the tapes I have, and I got about a little over halfway there. So I don't think rain barrels are... I don't think they're going to happen for me. Let me double check that, though. So take a look at this tracker here. I have Exposure Survival 8. Have I watched that? So I've watched, I don't own Woodcraft 1, and all the other Woodcrafts I've watched. So unless I find Woodcraft 1 tape, I can't get Woodcraft that way. For Exposure Survival, yeah, I have watched 8. 8 is a carpentry one, and I've watched 5, which is a carpentry tape as well. And I've watched 4, which is also a carpentry tape. So there's basically no more videotapes left for me to watch. So yeah, where I'm out of tapes. Got it. One way to level up your carpentry a lot is to go dismantle furniture, like beds and dressers and the like. Going to like hotels or buildings that have a lot of office furniture, or warehouses that have a lot of boxes, the wooden crates. That's pretty effective. But I don't think it would be entertaining for me to do. So instead, I think what I want to try to do... I don't really have enough time to start farming. The problem is I don't believe I have found burlap bags yet. I don't know if I've found any and not picked them up though. So the way to move dirt from the ground floor to upstairs where I can farm more safely is to have a shovel and have a sack that I shovel dirt into. Pretty commonly you can find bags of gravel or bags of sand that you can empty out, and then you have an empty bag that you can put dirt in instead. but I haven't looted any of those bags yet. Because you can't put it in, like, trash bags. It's only really just the sand and gravel bags. It's the only way to do it. So if I wanted to start farming, I could, but it wouldn't be on the second floor or roof. I could only do it on the ground floor, which I'm not going to do. There's too much risk. Because when you're watering plants and when you're tending to them, you're like hunched over and not paying attention around you. And it would be very easy for zombies just to walk up and kill you. And given the amount of fresh food that I have, it just doesn't make sense to take that amount of risk for virtually no reward. So what I could do is go back to searching garages for sack containers. Just with the time remaining. And I have mentioned that farming is really not going to be useful for me. I just want to demonstrate it for training purposes. It's not a complicated system, but it's not necessarily super intuitive either. So we'll see if I get lucky and find a sack of sand or gravel that I can empty out. Oh, yeah, there were sacks of potatoes. Huh. I forget whether or not those are the correct containers. Let me check. So one thing I want to do if I'm going to empty out a bunch of potatoes is to make a composter so I can compost the rotted food. Which is easy. It doesn't require a lot of skill. It just requires planks, nails, and carpentry skill. So let's build a quick composter. So that was 5 planks. And we'll stick that... wow, I can't even make it that close to the fence. Oh, did I not pick up all the... What happened to the... I tried to pick up the planks. Come on, guy. There we go. Alright, so with the little composter there, we can then grab rotted foods and start composting it into compost, which, compost or there is fertilizer that you can find in-game, both of which speed up the grow times of your farm plots. I will say, super not necessary. Farming doesn't take a lot of... I mean... I mentioned this before in the stream, but like, one of the reasons why I haven't started farming is I don't really need the food, and the farm fields require tending regularly, so it's kind of a time drain unless you actually need the nutrients from it. You know, otherwise you're just wasting time essentially. But it's easy enough to just start composting, and I only need to put a few plots down for demonstration purposes only. I just forget, actually, whether or not the sacks of, like, flour and potatoes yield sacks at the end. Because sometimes when you use up provisions, like, all right, here, a sack of strawberries. Sometimes when you empty them out, you don't end up getting anything. So if I open up this sack of potatoes, I do get a sack. Good. So now I have 16 rotten potatoes and a sack. Thank you, Fangface, for, like, reminding me that I actually have loads of sacks of stuff, and I just blanked on it. That will save me some time. Alright, let's get the shovel. So, nope, I lied. We're gonna start farming. So I want a shovel and a trowel. I like to use both. And I will plant one of each seed, which is kind of inefficient, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we'll do 7 plots of dirt, too. Plants have different needs. So some plants need more water than other plants. But it's mostly just like water needs and growth timer needs. So some plants grow faster, some plants grow slower. But at the end of the day, if you just put crops outside and you make sure that they're not getting diseased, you get food from it with a little bit of interference with you. Just making sure that, like, on particularly dry spells, you top up the water. So that's the sort of... Oh, yeah, so here's rotten cabbages. I can use that sack, too. That's the sort of time that I'm inferring when it becomes a bit of a time sink. When you have to constantly water and watch for plant illnesses. So with the shovel, if we equip in both hands, you can shovel dirt into the sacks and then bring that dirt up and put it wherever you want it. So it looks like this. If I take some dirt, it will slowly fill these sacks up that I have. So if we see this is a dirt bag now, and maybe I'll do 14. I'll do 2 plots per. There we go. I have 2 full dirt bags. Up. You're probably going to want to place the dirt close to your water source for convenience. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then I need to go for some more dirt. You're also going to get worms in the process of, like, digging them up. And you can use that for fishing if you want. Let's clean up this trash while we're at it. The corpses will, like, rot away, but the trash is going to stay here forever if I don't clean it. Look how conscientious we are. Like how I leave a bunch of, like, corpses everywhere, but, like, yeah, well, trash? No, absolutely, clean that up. Struggling with the rope ladders here. There we go. That looks right. All right, next up, we want to dig furrows, which allows you to start planting seeds, because just raw dirt isn't enough. It's, in my opinion, probably best to time your seeding right before a rainstorm, or when it's going to get rainy, so that you don't have to initially water, just because watering can be pretty time-consuming. It's also not a terrible idea to look for, like, floodlights and other large sources of light that you can set up to illuminate your growing area. And then you just sow seeds. Plop them in. And each seed packet will, you'll use a different amount of them. So, like, you know, cabbages are 9, and then broccoli was how much is per broccoli? Broccoli is 6 per seed, so they're a little bit different per seed. And the seed, you can see in the stats here when you sow it, like what the crop will expect. So broccoli takes, you know, on average 31 days to grow, and it needs a certain amount of water to grow. You know, cabbages, carrots, potatoes. The big difference, I would say, is that it's not so much the grow timers, because they'll grow, it's the spoil timers. So things like potatoes will keep in your pantry a hell of a lot longer than like strawberries. So if I had to decide to grow only one crop, it'd probably be potatoes, just because they're less fussy than like fruits. You know, generally speaking, vegetables are going to be a little bit less annoying. What I should have, and I don't, is like a storage container out there for like all those spare loose seeds. If you have enough seeds, you can pack them back up and then you form a pouch out of them. And it's not a terrible idea to like leave the shovel and the trowel out here. Yeah, as you can see, it's getting dark. And then the labor of watering. So I'm just going to grab all of the water containers here, and we just fill up each one. Your character will want to use their water bottles, so it's sometimes useful to like stick the water bottle in your backpack or physically put the water bottle away. As you level up your farming, you will gain more intel about its like growing phase and all that stuff. Well, by default, you don't know how to farm, so you don't get extra intel about like diseases and growth timer and grow phases and that kind of stuff. You're just ignorant. And then you can fill off of local rain barrels. So you can see why this is just a lot easier to do. Oh my god, my character's tired. A lot easier to do when it's raining, because then you can skip this whole like watering manual phase, which takes hours. And if you're wondering, no, there was not like a sprinkler, not without mods. So this is always a very manual task. The other thing is, one of the reasons to drop your water containers, your own bottles, is it's pretty easy when you just say fill all to accidentally put non-potable water in your own water bottles. And that's not good for you. So I know it's pretty hard to see what I'm doing just because my character's so tired. But I just wanted to finish this up so that everything is well watered. And I didn't check the weather reports, so like there's a non-zero chance that there's like a downpour overnight and all of this was for naught. There we go. I'm pretty sure at this point everything has water. So we'll put away the watering cans and buckets that I have. And the reason to have these spray cans is if your plants get sick, you can counteract pests and mildew with the spray bottles. These garden spray bottles by provided that you've read the farming magazine. So that would be in your crafting menu. Go over to farming. And if you have flies, you can make an insecticide with water, cigarettes, and a watering spray can. And if you have mildew, you can cure mildew with milk or evaporated milk and a spray can. So that's why I've been collecting the spoiled milk. It doesn't matter if it's rotted or not. Even rotten milk will cure mildew. There's a third disease called devil's water fungus, which is incurable. So if your crops have devil's water fungus, destroy the crop. Because the devil's water fungus will spread to adjacent plots and destroy your farming efforts. So those are the 3 farming diseases. And just every day or two, all you really have to do is to check the water levels of your farm, make sure that they're not diseased. When you're really low level farming, you're not even going to know what diseases they have. It will just say diseased, so you just have to take a guess and maybe cure both with insecticide and with mildew spray. And if both of them don't work, then dig up the plot, because it's probably devil's water fungus. But that's the long and short of farming, and I'm sure I'll be able to show that over time. But alas, I am out of time for this stream. Thank you for tuning in to Rad's Guide to Project Zomboid, which originally streamed live on Twitch April 18th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow zombie survivors.